and welcome back to The Countdown. I'm the Countdown host, MJ Book, back for part 2 of Countdown of favorite guilty pleasure movies. You already know what guilty pleasures is, but just a quick review. It's just movies that we know are shit, but like them anyway. And I said we, because I'm not alone. Frequent guest on the show, one of the hosts, I said it already before, of Third Generation Wrestling, who recently got his chops as the host of Third Generation Wrestling. And it's the ambassador himself, Rob. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Enjoying the first half of the show. Looking forward to doing the second half.
Well, we're definitely going down the road of the shit road of shit movies, definitely. But we did worst movies ever, which was a torture fest. I think more so for me because I watched all these movies. And on top of that, 10 other movies that were just in contention. So I watched 20 movies of shit, which I still haven't recovered from. This, though, is a much more enjoyable affair of talking about movies that we happen to know are shit, but we love it. So that makes it a little better. And we're going to jump right into number 5, the top half. Gosa.
All right. Well, my number 5, it is from 1989, directed by Marc Dessal. And as far as I know, this is the only film he's ever directed. I am not familiar with this guy. And when I say the title of the movie, you'll probably know why. It is Kickboxer, and it stars Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I think it's a guilty pleasure. I think it's a good movie.
You know what, man? I enjoy. I
like it.
I like it too, but you know, man, it's right on the border. It stars Jean-Claude Van Damme. I believe this was his first or second.
It was his first movie. It was his first.
I thought Bloodsport was the first one.
I think it was Kickboxer.
Okay.
Because I think I remember him saying on Arsenio Hall that he met somebody and they went together and they did a movie and it was Kickboxer.
Okay, maybe so.
But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you know, hey, Google it, people. If you really are curious, just Google it. But this movie stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as Kurt Sloan. And his older brother is a kickboxer. Now, this is before UFC became popular, so they weren't called mixed martial artists at the time. It was called kickboxing, and they were called kickboxers. His brother is played by Dennis Alexio, who was an actual kickboxer at the time. And they travel to, I believe it's Bangkok, to fight this big, intimidating fighter, undefeated, Tong Po, who proceeds to pretty much beat the crap out of Jean-Claude Van Damme's brother. Beats him so bad that he doesn't kill him, but he does put him in a wheelchair. Well, so now we have a revenge flick. Long story short, Jean-Claude wants to avenge his brother, wants to fight Tong Po. He has to undergo training. And then, of course, we have the big fight scene at the end. Now, along the way, we have some comedy. We have some pretty good martial arts. Jean-Claude Van Damme is actually a very talented mixed martial artist. But look, the acting is pretty wooden. Okay, the plot is pretty weak. The fight scenes are okay, but most people might consider this garbage. I enjoy it, though. And that's why it's in my top 5. I love good martial arts films. Most martial arts films, with the exception of maybe Enter the Dragon, maybe a couple of others, most of them aren't very good movies. You tune in to see the fight scenes, the great martial arts, and this movie has that. But like I said, you know, some of the side characters and some of the unintentional comedy brings it down a little bit. It's not anything that's going to win any Oscars for acting, for directing, for none of it, but
or dancing.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme dancing, definitely not going to win any awards, but the movie is enjoyable to me, definitely a guilty pleasure for me, and that is why it is on my list at number 5, Kickboxer.
Which has had a lot of sequels, including one somewhat recently, which actually starred a wrestler.
Didn't Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
I'm sure. I didn't even bother with it. Yeah. Dave,
he must have been on a day off. Dave has made a lot of good choices. That is his worst. Not even close. It's his worst. I'd rather watch the zombie movie, and I'm on a zombie ban, and I'd rather watch that. I'd rather watch that than that Kickboxer movie he was in. But I'm looking at Jean-Claude Van Damme's acting because I wanted to know. He had 3 uncredited movies before that. 2 of them never heard of. One of them, I know you heard of this movie, Missing in Action.
Oh, yeah. Chuck Norris movie. Yeah.
He's in it. He's in it.
Okay.
He's uncredited. He's a soldier.
Okay.
His first credited movie is a movie called Monaco Forever, where he plays, and this is what he's listed as, gay karate man.
Okay.
That's
Wow,
that's what he's listed. Gay karate man.
that's interesting to have on your resume.
After that, No Retreat, No Surrender, which I do remember that movie. And then it's Bloodsport.
Oh, okay.
And then it's Black Eagle, Cyborg, and then comes Kickboxer.
Okay, I had never heard of the Black Eagle Cyborg.
You've never heard of Cyborg? Those are
wait,
two different movies I was saying.
Oh,
Black
okay.
Eagle's one, and then Cyborg.
Got you. Okay, I have heard of Cyborg. Yes. Okay, got it.
I love Cyborg. That might be my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. In fact, it's an honorable mention because I love Cyborg. So you did the perfect lead in for me.
Okay.
Cyborg is an honorable mention. I'll mention a couple others while I'm there. Virtuosity.
Russell Crowe and Denzel. You would think with those two now, that was long before they reunited for American Gangster. I saw Virtuosity, and it's one I feel like I need to revisit because I know what it's about. At the time, it went over my head a little bit. I think now I might get it if I watched it again.
Well, in a side story on a previous countdown with the good brother Blake, when we counted down Denzel Washington movies, that made my list. And not only did it make my list, I bought it right there while I was recording it because he told me it was on Blu-ray. I didn't believe him. I saw it and I bought it right there while we were recording. So
interesting story. You and I were actually listening to that show as we were driving back from Chicago.
Chicago,
yep. Now. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll mention one more, and that's Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Chevy Chase. That movie got shit on. I know it's bad, but I like it. I like it. I know.
Was it a comedy?
It's a little bit more serious, action serious. It has comedy elements in it too as well. But it is somewhat serious on some levels as well.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, that's one way of putting it. All right. My number 5 was the debut of an actor we have seen a lot lately who's kind of been stuck in a certain genre of movies. I love this movie. I bought a box set because this movie has had some sequels. Dark Man.
Oh, okay.
Starring Liam Neeson. This was Liam's first starring role. He had been acting numerous times. He'd been in a lot of other works. This was his first starring role. And this was from 1990. He plays Peyton Westlake, a brilliant scientist who's trying to create this liquid skin to help burn victims who have lost their skin. And his girlfriend happens to work for an interesting character. Definitely not a good guy. And the plot is so hard to follow, but this interesting character has a mobster who works for him, who is Robert Durant. And it's kind of hard to describe this. What happens is they attack Peyton Westlake's home to get some information that his girlfriend has. He doesn't know where it is, so they beat the crap out of him, blow up his lab, and he's burnt to a friggin' crisp. That's why he's got kind of the masks around him, because he's burnt to a crisp. It messes with his mind. It makes him psycho, but it gives him this super strength, which I didn't know burn victims got super strength, but supposedly when he gets mad, he gets super strong. He feels no pain because it is just a weird movie, but it's Sam Raimi. What do you expect? He directed it. So, but God damn, I love this movie. It's so over the top. It's so ridiculous. It's a little violent, but the violence is absolutely over the top. It stars Frances McDormand, an actress who I know people know who she is from Fargo. Yes, she's in this. But it's had a couple of sequels, Darkman 2, Darkman 3. Liam Neeson didn't return for those, but the person who did play Darkman is another actor people will know. They may not know the name, but they know what he did. Arnold Vosloo, who played Imhotep from the first two Mummy movies. He played Darkman in the first two sequels, which is how I actually know Arnold Vosloo as Darkman. Like I said, this movie's over the top. It's absolutely ridiculous. It makes absolutely no level of sense. But I bought the Blu-ray because they made a special edition of it, because I have this on VHS. I have this on DVD. It's one of those rare movies that I have on all three: VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. I even have the soundtrack to this movie. I have the poster to this movie. It's one of the many posters that's just not up because I don't have enough wall space. But this movie just so entertains me. I watch Darkman literally at least once a month. No joke. I love this movie so much. To me, this is actually my favorite Sam Raimi movie. Yes, over Spider-Man. I love this more. It just entertains the hell out of me. It's what I first think of when I think of Liam Neeson. Even before Taken, I think of this. And that's what makes it my number 5 from 1990, Darkman.
You know, I know that I've seen Darkman, and probably it was when it first came out, which, you know, now would have been over 30 years ago. I remember liking it, but it's one I do need to revisit because I don't remember the movie in its entirety. I know I've seen it. I know I liked it, but definitely one I want to look at. And I remember liking it to the point where I didn't think it was a bad movie. I thought it was actually a good movie. So it's not one I'd put on my guilty pleasure list because I actually enjoyed it.
Oh, it's shit. It's total shit.
Okay.
I mean, the two movies after it went direct to DVD. This also had a failed TV show.
Oh, wow.
On Fox. This was going to be on Fox, was going to make a TV show. You can actually see this on YouTube. It's also on YouTube. It is bad. It's really bad. I would have watched it, but I love Darkman, so I'm a sucker for it.
All right. Well, man, speaking of shit, you mentioned the word shit a little bit ago.
That's all we've been saying.
Yeah, man. My number 4 is a movie from 1986. And it's the only movie, thank God, ever directed by one of the most prolific authors in history. And that author's name is Stephen King.
Oh, God.
And we're talking about Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, my God.
Okay, now this is a movie based on a short story written by Stephen King called Trucks. It appeared in his book Night Shift, which was a series of short stories. 3 or 4 short stories made up this one book. It was expanded into a movie, and Stephen King said, you know, what the hell, let me take my hand at directing. And man, what a fucking disaster.
It's bad.
Okay, we see, first of all, the plot of the movie is Earth is caught in the tail of this comet that somehow causes all machinery to come alive, whether it's a tractor, whether it's a pop machine, whether it's a car, a truck. They come alive and they just start wreaking havoc on human beings. One of the early sequences of a movie features the aforementioned pop machine. Little League game has just ended. Coach is going up. Hey, kids, have some pop. The machine starts going crazy, hurling full cans of pop at the kids. The coach takes a direct hit to the forehead, blows a chunk of his forehead out as the machine continues to hurl full cans of pop at these little kids.
Oh, God.
The movie takes place mostly at a truck stop owned by a man named Bubba Hendershot, played by Pat Hingle, in one of the worst redneck performances I've ever seen. This movie has more unintentional comedy, more bad special effects, more horrible acting. I mean, everything is in there. Everything is in there. Everything bad about a movie, it's all in there in this one. And yet I love it because it is so bad, it makes you laugh. I mean, we have toilet humor in here. We have a guy.
A lot of that.
Yeah, we have a guy on the toilet taking a dump, farting. You hear the kerplunk of the turds falling in the water. You hear the whole thing. It's all there.
Yes, you do.
Folks, I'm not lying. It's all there.
It's all there.
And I'm a kid in the 80s. I'm high. I'm with 2 of my buddies, and we are in the theater on the floor, laughing, tears in our eyes, crying at this movie. But I watch it over and over again. I enjoy it. I own it. I don't own the Blu-ray. I may look for a Blu-ray, but I own a pretty good copy of the DVD, which gets me through right now. When I get a little tipsy and I'm just in a funny mood, I put this in and it makes me laugh to tears every time because it's just that hilariously bad. One of my favorite guilty pleasures, number 4, Maximum Overdrive. If you have not seen it, indulge in whatever your favorite intoxicant is, whether it is smoked or whether it's drank. Put this one in and enjoy.
I actually just went to look to see if this is on Blu-ray. It is.
Oh boy.
It is.
Tell me it's really expensive so I don't go out and buy it tonight.
Well, there's two versions of it. One is 21.22, which proves it's shit because it's an odd price.
Yeah,
And the other one is 23.98. So
I'll just settle for the DVD version. I mean, it's not like this one. You don't really need a very clear picture. It's bad either way.
Well, if you want to go DVD, $11.99.
Well, I already own the DVD, so I'm good there.
Yeah, I can't go with you on that movie. It is just absolute shit. Yeah. That movie is bad.
I can't argue with any of it.
It is bad.
But I love it anyway.
I thought that movie was going to be good somehow. I knew it was bad, but I'm like, so what? The plot is ridiculous. I think I might like this. And then it's like, yeah, this sucks. This is bad. It definitely something I don't think Stephen King wants anybody to ever remind him of.
No, he said after this, he tried directing. He thought the movie was terrible. He was embarrassed about it, and he has never directed a film again.
That was a smart choice. I wish George Lucas would do that.
Yeah.
A couple of his movies almost temptingly made it on the worst of list. Well, one of them did.
One of them did make it on mine.
Oh God, George. He deserves his own list. But all right, my number 4. Staying in the world of superheroes, but this is a superhero that some folks may not be that familiar with. The Shadow. Don't know if people know who the Shadow is, but I'm sure you know the actor who played the Shadow. It was Alec Baldwin.
You know him for wow. And I don't want to make jokes about this. This is a terrible story, but sadly, he's in the news for a terrible reason right now. Yeah.
An accident. Sadly, stuff like that happens all the time. It's just rare that it results in something fatal. So,
yeah, sadly,
obviously he didn't mean to do it. Obviously, but
no, sadly reminiscent of the Brandon Lee situation from The Crow. You just wonder, how do live rounds get on a set? I mean, and I know it's not necessarily, I know there are precautions, and I don't want to go on the podcast about this, but it's a terrible story. And I'm glad to see that a lot of these films and these directors are now taking extra precautions and saying no more live rounds on the set. So
well, sometimes even blanks can do damage. It's a little off topic, but For Your Eyes Only, to Paul, who's in it, he got shot with a blank right above the eye, and he just started gushing blood. So even blanks are deadly. So anytime you're dealing with gunplay, it's just deadly. Yeah. But live rounds just make it worse. But The Shadow from 1994, starring Alec Baldwin, directed by Russell, I'm going to screw up another name, Russell Mulcahy. I probably said that name horrifically wrong. Stars John Lone, Penelope Ann Miller back then, another hottie. And he wasn't quite a name yet, but he would be a few years later. Ian McKellen is actually in this movie.
Okay.
So nobody knew who he was. I didn't even realize that he was actually in The Shadow, but I remember when I'm watching Lord of the Rings, I was looking at Gandalf's face and I'm like, you look so familiar. And then months later, I watched The Shadow. I'm like, you're Gandalf. So it all clicked. But The Shadow takes place in 1930s New York, and Alec Baldwin plays Lamont Cranston, who is the Shadow. He's this superhero who is able to hide basically go invisible, leaving only his shadow. But he also has mental powers where he can basically hypnotize you. He knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men. Now, when I watched this movie, I had never heard of The Shadow, didn't know what it was, just thought it was just some random superhero movie that they made, and didn't expect to like that movie. I absolutely love this movie. In fact, I'm going to go off camera for a sec. Okay. There we go. Oh, this is a Shadow action figure that I have saved since I bought it when the movie came out. I have owned this proudly. This is an original action figure from that movie. It is a piece of crap movie, but damn it, I love this movie. And what I didn't realize about it is it was an old radio show. I didn't know until I was goofing off on eBay and I saw for sale Shadow Radio Show. And so I bought it on cassette, loved it, and I own now maybe about 150 episodes of the Shadow original radio show on cassette and CD and download, all from this movie. This movie originally on my list was a little lower, but as I was getting closer to this time of recording, it went up and up and up and up and got all the way up to number 4 because I bought other media because of this movie. I've watched fan fiction films from just fans on YouTube of The Shadow. I am begging for them to make a Shadow movie, just like I did for the Green Hornet. Of course, they fucked that up, but I wish they would make a show for this. Yeah. Well, and in a side note, I remember thinking back then that Alec Baldwin would have made a great Batman. I think he'd have been better than Keaton because, oh yeah, I think he'd have been better than Keaton because Keaton's Bruce Wayne was shit. His Batman was good. His Bruce was shit. I think that Baldwin would have done a better job as Bruce, and I wasn't worried about him being Bat. He basically did it in The Shadow, so I already knew he could do it. But the movie is basically about John Lowe, who plays an ancestor of Genghis Khan, Shao Kahn. He also has the same powers, and these two are kind of battling against each other in old school New York. It's campy. It's a product of 1930s, but I love this movie. I have a special edition of this movie. Again, one of the movies that I own on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. All 3. That means I love it. So number 4 is The Shadow, because The Shadow knows.
I am aware of The Shadow, have never seen The Shadow. Heard of it, but just, I don't know, it just didn't pique my interest and still never has. Actually, that's a film I haven't even thought of in a long time. So yeah, that's a very interesting choice.
Most people don't think of The Shadow. I understand why.
And
Tim Curry's in it.
Oh, okay.
Tim Curry's in this. I forgot. Tim Curry's in it.
Interesting. All right. Boy, oh boy. Man. Number 3. Pretty much number 3 and number 2 are really okay. Let's just get into it. From 2001, directed by comedian Louis C.K. Stars Chris Rock, and it's based on a sketch. Chris Rock used to have a show on HBO, pretty good show.
Great show.
One of these segments on that show is also the title of this movie, Pootie Tang.
You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck.
Pootie Tang. I can't believe it.
Pootie Tang. Now, Pootie Tang is a character, somewhat superhero, who pretty much speaks his own language. He gets power from a belt given to him by his dad, and he just saves all the kids from all the bad people in the neighborhood. And I'm telling you, folks, this is one of the silliest, stupidest movies with the stupidest plot, yet it's funny. Pootie Tang kind of speaks his own language. It's a language that's all his. Yes, Wadata means yes. Tippy ties, that's what he calls children. These are just a couple of the words I can remember from the movie. It stars, like I said, Chris Rock, and it stars a guy who actually is all over TV now. His name is JB Smoove. He's a comedian, but if you've seen the Caesar,
he's Caesar
commercial, he is Caesar on the commercials. He actually just had a very funny one with the Manning family. But yeah,
I saw that. That was funny.
It is, yeah, it is very funny. He's in this movie. And some of the characters in this movie, we've got Dirty D, we've got Bad Biddy, we got Wanda Sykes playing Biggie Shorty, and we have a cameo from legendary sportscaster Bob Costas. And
I don't know how they got Bob. I don't know how they got Bob.
Look, I don't know how they got him either, but Bob Costas is in this movie and featured pretty prominently. But this is just a silly movie. Basically, Pootie Tang is this superhero, and somehow Robert Vaughn, who is an accomplished actor, plays a villain who just wants this woman to seduce Pootie Tang to basically take all of the powers away from Pootie Tang so that he can take over the town, the business, And so the Jennifer Coolidge, who I don't know if people know her by name, but I think you would know Jennifer Coolidge if you saw her. She's blonde and she's funny. I think people would know who she is if she saw her.
Oh,
She
yeah,
plays,
they know her.
Yeah. She plays the woman who seduces Pootie. Pootie loses all of his power and has to get it back. Yeah, her name is Irene in the movie. I was trying to think of her character name. That's her character name, Irene. But this movie, I mean, my goodness. Pootie Tang is knocking away bullets with he wears a long ponytail and he's just knocking away bullets with his braid, and he's just ducking and dodging all these bullets and speaking this crazy language. He has a duet in the movie with Missy Elliott, and Missy singing this kind of slow love song, and he's singing back to her in that broken English, that crazy language, whatever it is he sings with. It is just complete comedy. It is complete comedy. It is so ridiculous. You have to see it to believe it. I own this movie. I watch it. I laugh. It's bad. I mean, it is terribly bad from a acting standpoint, just from mostly from just a I'm trying to think of the right word. Just from
bad,
a,
just from a
just
time
from, yeah,
standpoint.
just from a standpoint of just having any sort of meaning or thought behind it.
It has no thoughts.
Yet somehow it works. It's so silly, so over the top. This is one of those movies without a doubt. There is no in between. You either really enjoy this movie or you hate this movie and have no idea why the people who enjoy it, what they see in this movie at all. There's no in between. There's no like, it's okay. No, you love it or you absolutely, with every fiber of your being, hate it. I fall in the category of loving it, even though I fully admit it is a huge piece of crap.
I was wondering if this would happen.
Oh boy.
I thought you would pick a movie. I was wondering if you were going to pick a movie that's just so damn bad that I just have to go fireball on it. And you just did it. Pootie Tang is one of the absolute worst movies. It's so bad, I didn't want to mention it in the worst movies ever. That's how much I hate it, because I just want to pretend that movie does not exist. So thanks.
Well, as I said, love it or hate it, and most people absolutely hate it, and I can't fault anybody for it. I cannot. But me and a few other people I know, we love this one.
Kendall?
No, I don't know if Kendall's ever even seen it.
I think he would love it.
Oh, maybe he would. I don't know if he's ever seen it.
I think he would love it. Jennifer Coolidge, for those if you want to know who she is, she's the MILF of American Pie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay.
She's the MILF. So she's history making because she made that word public.
Yeah.
It was private. She made it public. Pootie Tang. Oh my God. That is God. That's an insult to the word God awful.
I had a feeling that one might cause that reaction.
That one's bad. Yeah, that one is bad, dude. That is just terrible. If it came to a choice of watching that and maybe shooting myself, I'll take the bullet. I'll take the bullet.
Pootie Tang or snakes?
Snakes.
Oh wow.
Pootie Tang is bad, man.
Say about snakes on this show? Okay.
I told you, I didn't even put that movie on my worst of list because I hate it so much. I just want to pretend it doesn't exist. It's one of the few I just try to pretend it doesn't exist, and you reminded me of it. So,
well, you reminded me of No Holds Barred. Now we're even.
That's on Eric. That's on Eric. Don't blame me. That was his idea, not mine.
Yeah.
But come on, No Holds Barred's better than Pootie Tang. But
I'll watch Pootie Tang any day over No Holds Barred.
It's terrible. Number 3. Okay, this is unmitigated crap. There's no polite way to say it. There's just no nice way to put it. But it is one of the most successful movies of all time. One of the biggest cult movies of all time. That should give you a pretty big clue. And if you don't realize what it is yet, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No, it deserves to be on here. When you're in a theater with a group of people it's a completely different experience because, and it's hard to describe it to people who've never gone to a midnight show. You're not sitting there really watching the movie. You're not. You're chanting at it. You're hanging out with your friends, drinking, maybe trying to get laid. Who knows? You're acting on the front stage, so your back's to the screen. You're not seeing it. You're doing almost everything but watching it. You're watching enough so you can do your lines at the right moment. But if you just sit at home and just sit and watch this movie, it's bad. It's so bad that you have to start doing your lines to get through it, because then the movie gets good. As soon as you start doing lines, and I mean lines by saying, I don't mean lines, but as soon as you start saying lines, the movie gets better. But the movie is horrendous. It's absolutely god awful. It's pathetic. It's terrible. It's directed by Jim Sharman. Squeeze the Sharman. That's a line. It stars Richard O'Brien, who wrote the movie. Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, young Susan Sarandon, who walks around most of the movie wearing just bra and panties. That should be enough for most people to watch it.
I was just going to say, I've never seen this film, although I'm very familiar with it, but I may have to actually watch it just for that.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you like seeing a lot of transvestites, because you're going to see that, because you can look at Tim Curry right there.
Well, yeah, I know that's Dr. Frankenfurter. It's weird. This is one of those movies where it has such a following. I just assumed that it was good. And I've always been curious to see it, but I've never watched it.
You don't want to just sit. You want to see this at a midnight show. That is the best way to watch this movie. It is so entertaining. This movie, easily. I started going to these midnight shows. I think I had to be like 18, 19 years old. And I'm 42, 43 years old. And we do reunion shows here in Des Moines. I went to one last year, and there's one, actually, no, this year. Sorry. Earlier this year, I went to a reunion show, and I will be going to the next reunion show. It's already been planned for next year. That's a lot of years going to this movie.
So as a standalone film, it's bad.
Oh, it's bad. This is not a movie you just sit, chill, and watch at the house. This is at its element at a midnight showing when you're with a group of people. It's just so entertaining because you have people saying their lines. You have people in interesting costumes, including there's a lot. You're seeing women wearing that stuff, walking around. So, and this was foreplay for the Rocky after parties, which I am not going to describe the debauchery that occurred at after parties that I went to, but let's just say there was a lot of smiles. That's all I'm going to say. But even me, I showed up in a costume. In fact, that is what I wore.
I don't even want to think about that. That's just gross.
It's gross, but I wore it.
I can't even picture you. I can't picture you. I don't even want to think you wearing something like that. I know you.
I was a lot thinner when I wore it.
Doesn't.
I was thinner.
It's not about your size. That's not.
It's a lot gross. It would be a lot grosser. It'd be even more gross now. It's gross then, but it's even worse now. Okay. Yeah, but at least I was thinner back then.
Okay.
But this movie, I've said it so many times, the best part of my life, and I'm a depressing idiot. I'm just depressing all the time. But the best part of my life, I've said it hundreds of times, is every Friday that I was going to Billy Joe's Picture Show and watching and going to see this movie. Some of the best friends I've had in my life came from watching that movie. Jen. Jen was going to Rocky Horror Picture to that movie. A lot of the friends I still have came from that show. There's a couple of girlfriends I got from this movie, and a lot of other things. But Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's a horrible movie, but it's one of the greatest franchise basically ever at the midnight showings. And my goal before I leave this earth is to somehow make it to New York, even though I hate that city, and go to where the whole midnight show started, which was right there in New York. I want to go there just once and watch where it all started. Just be warned, when you go to a midnight show, if you've never gone, you're a virgin. So you get the virgin treatment, which depending on whoever owns you, and I'm saying it right, you get bought, and you get bought for the stupidest shit imaginable. I've bought several virgins for pocket lint, floor crumbs, toilet paper, just dumb shit. Toilet puck. I bought one for a toilet puck. That's Rocky Horror. I love it to death. It's always going to be a part of my life. Rocky Horror Picture Show, number 3.
All right, well, man, up to my number 2. And this is one I'll be shocked if,
no follow-up to Rocky Horror.
Yeah, I'll be shocked if anyone has heard of this one. It came out in 2007. It's directed by Jordan Downey. This has become a staple for me each and every year, and it is called Thanksgiving.
Oh God, I was afraid you'd put this. I was afraid you'd put this on there.
Now, hey, look, Thanksgiving was made for $3,500. This movie, look, it's called Thanksgiving.
Oh,
it's pretty much telling you this is a piece of shit. And boy, what a piece of shit it is. Turkey is a puppet, and basically, Turkey was necromanced by an Indian who wants to get revenge on the white men who did his people wrong. So he somehow necromances this killer turkey to terrorize modern day America. And these unsuspecting kids from this high school, I mean, look, when I tell you everything about this movie is bad, once again, I'm telling you, it was made for $3,500, not million, not thousand. This movie was made for $3,500. It looks every bit of that 35. As a matter of fact, somebody needs to get their money back, because it doesn't even look like they spent $3,500 on this movie. So this turkey is going around killing these teenagers who are going on Thanksgiving break. They go to this campsite, and the turkey proceeds to kill them all, throwing in corny one-liners, all turkey related, of course. It's cheap. The acting is so bad. You can tell that these people know they're making a piece of crap. I'll give it credit for that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that they don't try to pretend like we're making this great movie. No, they're pretty much all in on the fact that this is going to be a piece of shit. Everything we do is going to be geared in that direction. That's what we're doing here. With that said, you still cannot imagine just how big of a piece of shit this movie is. Yet it is so hilariously funny because it is so bad. It is so over the top. It is so ridiculous. I guarantee you've never seen anything like this film. I watch it every Thanksgiving Eve. I crack up every time. I'm always a little tipsy. I'm always a lot tipsy.
You have to be to watch that.
Yeah. It has a sequel, Thanksgiving 3. They're showing a sense of humor. There was no Thanksgiving 2. They're obviously trying to be.
They skipped it.
Yeah, they just skipped it. They went to 3. I have not seen it. I've heard it so bad, and I mean in a bad way, not bad in an over the top funny way, just a bad in a bad way. So I've not seen it, but Thanksgiving is my number 2, and I stand by it. I don't care what people say about it, what they think of me. I love this film. It is a piece of crap, but damn it, it is entertaining and hilarious as hell.
You'll watch The Room, but you won't watch the sequel to Thanksgiving.
Well, you know, The Room, once again, that one is so bad. It's almost watchable, but not quite.
It's not.
I did watch it that one time.
That's one more time than it should ever be watched.
Well, true.
I have never watched Thanksgiving. I heard about it, and that was enough. Just hearing the plot, I already knew there is no way in the world that's good.
There is one part I want to describe so badly, but it's a little twisted. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, you know,
I just talked about transvestites. I mean, and I even said I wore that outfit. Yeah. So you can't tell me it can't be more twisted.
It's pretty twisted. It's pretty twisted.
Than me in drag.
Well, no, but you know, yeah.
I just publicly said that one.
I'll just encourage people to watch it. I know. Look, I know there are people listening like me who have morbid curiosities. That's how I watched this movie. And if you have a morbid curiosity and you've never seen this one, I highly suggest it. If you have morbid curiosity, I don't think you regret it. Because if you have morbid curiosities, you probably haven't seen anything quite this bad, but you've seen something close to this bad.
I watched The Amazing Bulk.
Oh.
And there's no way in the world it's that bad.
You know what? I've heard about that. I have not seen it, but you're probably right. Based on what I have heard about that, yeah.
It is the worst movie ever.
Yeah, Thanksgiving has actually gained a huge cult following. I know the people the couple who I know who have seen it, they like it. Yeah, they like it. But I haven't met many people who have seen it. But of the couple that I have, they like it.
If I had seen that movie, I probably would. That's where I would have had definitely a fireball shot. But I've never seen it, so I can't. I've seen Pootie Tang, and I know that is one of the worst movies ever made, hands down. Thanks. I knew you were going to say Thanksgiving. I was hoping you wouldn't do it, but I knew you would.
That film.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Thank God you didn't make us watch that for the horror thing.
I watched it a week ago. I watched it last Wednesday because that was the night before Thanksgiving. Yeah, I watched it. Watch it every year.
Thank God you didn't make us watch that. I might have shot you. I mean, that thing is just not good. It's just not good.
You gave me an idea. You guys have had me watching some shit. I feel like I need to get.
Eric has, not me. I have never made you watch a bad movie except for I want you to watch Batman and Robin. But even that, I'm giving you an out to torture me. I'm giving you an out. Which unfortunately, maybe you'll choose Thanksgiving. Maybe
we might have a deal.
God, is that what you want me to watch?
You know what?
Thanksgiving.
We'll talk about it, but yeah, that just.
I'll
let you borrow it. Yeah, that just might be it. The good thing about it, Thanksgiving is only about an hour long. You're making me watch a movie twice that long.
I tell you what, if you want to do that. Because I have an idea that would be an interesting special countdown episode, hearing what the other person thinks of the movie selected.
All right.
Is that what you want me to do?
I'll commit
Thanksgiving
to doing that show. Yeah, I'll commit to doing that show. You watch Thanksgiving, I'll watch Batman and Robin.
So is that official? Is that your movie? Is that your movie, Thanksgiving?
I own Batman
and
Robin.
God.
I will let you borrow Thanksgiving. Have the fireball ready. I'm just telling you now. And I
probably have to get a gallon jug.
You probably will. I highly suggest that you do.
Well, this is the only way I could get you to watch Batman and Robin. So I think in the end, you'll still be in the better state.
All right. Well.
Okay, folks. Well, you know what a future episode with Rob is going to be. It's going to be us talking about, I guess, him finally watching Batman and Robin. Finally got him to watch it. And I guess I have to watch Thanksgiving. Oh, my God. Okay, number 2, the runner-up for me. I'm putting this on as a guilty pleasure, even though I think this movie rocks. I think it is excellent.
Oh, boy.
But I know that a lot of people think this movie is shit. But my God, I worship this movie. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I absolutely adore this movie. I think legitimately it is one of the best movies I have ever seen. When I think of Keanu Reeves, I know that others will think of The Matrix. Maybe they'll think of Speed. I think of this. Right away, it's not even any other movie doesn't even pale in comparison to the excellentness, and I just made a word, but I don't care, of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Trying to describe this plot would be absolutely pointless, but I'm going to try. 2 very dumb kids who are basically stoners without smoking pot have to save the universe because they are very important. And to do it, they must pass their historical presentation class test. And so Rufus, joined by who is played by the late George Carlin.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, who I got to see George Carlin a few months before he passed away, even though I'm not a George Carlin fan, but I did get to see him at the Civic Center here in Des Moines, Iowa.
I love George Carlin. I wish I would have went.
I got to see him. So Teresa, getting off topic, but I don't care. Teresa, an ex-girlfriend of mine, absolutely adores George Carlin. And I knew he was coming into town and I bought her tickets.
Nice.
That's just the kind of boyfriend I am. I may try to put up a hard front of being an asshole and a jerk and all that stuff, but deep down, I actually am a decent human being. I hate saying that, but I am. This movie, though, Rufus shows up with this telephone booth. For those of you who don't know what a telephone booth is.
Oh, yeah. Might have to explain it.
I have to because they don't exist anymore. It's a big old box, basically, that you walk in that has a phone in it. Not a cell phone, but a phone, like a home phone, with a telephone book, which it's a book that has phone numbers in it and addresses, because those really don't exist anymore, even though they still magically get delivered on doorsteps somehow.
Yeah,
But it's a huge waste of paper. But this telephone booth travels through time, and Bill and Ted travel through time to pick up these historical figures to help their report, like Billy the Kid, Abraham Lincoln, Socrates, Joan of Arc, just random major characters in history to pass their history class. And that's the plot. It is the most stoner plot that doesn't involve weed anywhere in the movie, but clearly they were smoking a whole lot when they thought of this plot. And this became so successful. How this movie became successful is beyond me. It's so stupid, but it spawned off 2 sequels, one rather recently, an animated show, comic book series, a cereal. Bill and Ted had their own cereal. And I absolutely adore this movie. It is so dumb, but I've told this story before. Jen, she had to tolerate when I was in a store at Walmart and I saw a box set of Bill and Ted, and I absolutely geeked out. For those who know me, I have to stay away from DVD and Blu-ray sections because I'm a DVD Blu-ray-aholic. I have nearly 800, so I have to avoid these, and I saw it and I completely geeked out. In fact, there it is. This is what I geeked out on. It's a box set with both movies, including an extra disc with documentaries and an actual episode from the animated series. I love this thing. It's one of my most prized possessions. I don't let anybody borrow this. That's how much I love this. Bill and Ted. This is the excellent collection, but on this list, it's Bill and Ted's excellent adventure. Runner up.
Well, you know what? That one only surprises me because I thought you just really liked that one. I didn't think it was a good pleasure. I thought you just enjoyed it because you thought it was actually a good movie.
Oh, now, it's shit.
Well, you know, it's interesting because my number one, I wonder if you're going to feel the same about my choice as I did about Bill and Ted. You're going to know it's a movie that I really like, but I'm going to
have my guess. I have a guess.
Well, I don't know. I almost want you to guess, but I
go. What is it? I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, my number one may surprise you, but I'll explain why. It's from 1985, directed by Mark L. Lester. I'm sorry, I had to look. I forgot. It is Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, a movie that I absolutely love. But come on, people, if you have seen it, you know this movie is not a well-made movie. You know Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting is wooden as hell. You know the special effects are bad. You know everything about this movie is pretty much bad. But Arnold's corny one-liners and the gratuitous violence completely wins me over. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays John Matrix, a former Green Beret who is called out of retirement to do a mission he doesn't want to do. Well, they kidnap his daughter, and if he does the mission, he'll get his daughter back, but he knows full well that they are going to kill his daughter anyway.
Played by Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, played by Alyssa Milano, who was a young girl at the time, but as we all know now, grown into a very beautiful woman.
Oh, I thought she was hot back then, but she was closer to my age, so I could say that.
Okay, yeah. I cannot say that because that would be gross because I was almost.
I could totally say it and get away with it.
I was almost 20 years old by the time this movie came out. I saw this in college, got a few puffs in, went into the theater, watched it, loved it. I own this DVD. I've had it for years. I watch it several times. I watch it at least once every couple of years. Not because it's good, but because I just love it. The violence, the corny one-liners, everything about an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that most people would hate, but that Arnold Schwarzenegger fans love is in there. Bill Duke has a part in this. Bill Duke is an underrated actor.
Oh, he's legend.
Yeah. Love him. He's in it. Like I said, Ray Don Chong, who was beautiful at this time.
Back then, yep. Oh, yeah. Big
plays,
time. Planet of the Cave Bear. That's
Quest for Fire. Yeah. And she plays a flight attendant, at first afraid of Arnold, but eventually helps him to kill all the bad men and get back to his daughter. But come on, man. This movie is great, but low budget, bad special effects, bad acting, pretty much everything in it bad. But my favorite, and the reason why I put this as my favorite is because, with the exception of Thanksgiving, and the only reason I watch Thanksgiving once a year is because obviously I'm celebrating a holiday. I'm going to do that every year. But outside of that film, Commando is the one I watch and love the most, even though I know that it is bad. But that's my number one guilty pleasure, Commando, starring the great, my favorite action hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, see, I want the Blu-ray, but I've heard what do you think? Is the quality of the Blu-ray pretty good?
It was okay. It was fine.
All right, because I own the DVD.
Okay, this is not a shit movie.
Are you kidding me?
I love it. I love it too much.
I love it.
This
too.
is not shit. It's
I
not
love
shit.
It too. But
I love it too much.
Okay, but you think the acting is good?
I cannot hate that movie.
Okay.
I love it too much.
Well, what about Ray Don Chong and Arnold Schwarzenegger crashing the car into the pole?
Oh, that cracked me up.
But you don't think that was absolute garbage?
No, I loved it. I love that movie.
I love where he kills.
It's his best one-liners.
He kills
it's
the
his
guy.
Best.
He kills the guy on the plane. No one notices that he killed.
No one notices. He's dead tired.
The stewardess comes and offers them some food, and he says, "Please don't bother my friend. He's dead tired."
It's his best one-liners that are in that movie. His best.
But when you say his best, another person might say his worst. You know what I mean?
Oh no, they're his best.
Okay.
They're outright his best. He was at his absolute peak with that movie.
Well, look, here's why it's on my list. That movie is not going to win any Academy Awards for any category.
It would for me.
But I am so entertained by this movie. I watch it more, like I said, with the exception of Thanksgiving, I watch it more than any other movie on this list. Arnold is my favorite action hero. This was early in his career. He could not act. The only thing he could do even reasonably well is throw out those corny one-liners and flex those muscles and kick that ass. And it's all here in this movie, in this terrible movie that is awesome.
I so could not put this on this list. It's too good. It's just too good. That movie is too good, man. That is not. Don't feel guilty about that movie.
Well, I'm surprised that you had Bill and Ted. I'm surprised you feel guilty about liking that film. That film was very well received. Even some critics like that one.
Oh, I know that movie is shit. I know it is. I get made fun of for that movie a lot. Now, there are other movies that get made fun of more, but Bill and Ted is right up there. Maybe because I'm so obsessed. I have a t-shirt of Bill and Ted. I have Funkos of Bill and Ted.
Wow.
I'm obsessed.
Okay.
I have the entire comic book series of Bill and Ted in a box. I'm obsessed. I have a box of the cereal that I've never opened. I bought it just to have it. I mean, that's ridiculous. But Commando, that movie's good.
Okay, well, I'm curious to hear your number one.
Well, for a previous list that you and I conveniently did, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I wanted to look it up to see where we had Commando. You had Commando as number 5. That was also a 10 spot. I had it as number 8.
Oh, are these best Arnold movies?
Yeah, that was our best Arnold's list.
Yeah.
So I had it at 8, you had it at 5, but we both had it.
Okay. So I actually liked it better than you. It's not that I don't like it. I just also, unlike you, this is where we disagree. I think, even though I enjoy it, I think it's a shitty made movie, but you think it's great.
Well, you have to think of the movies above it. It's like Terminator, Predator, Twins. These are above it. And with all due respect, I got Commando as high as I could get it. Okay. But it is brilliant shit. I don't even think it's shit, really. I love that movie too much. I think it's good. I don't think there's anything wrong with that movie.
All right.
I'm proud to love that movie. I told you how much I geeked out when I finally bought this. I geeked out when I bought it. I bought it with End of Days, which, by the way, that's a guilty pleasure, End of Days, because I know you don't like that movie.
I actually am going to buy it and relook at that one.
You sure you want to buy it first, or do you want to borrow it first?
I'm a big enough Arnold fan where I can get it cheap. I mean, I buy my stuff on eBay where I get it real cheap. And yeah, I'm going to buy it because there's certain Arnold movies I want to own, certain ones I won't own. But End of Days is one where I'd go ahead and buy it.
It's better than Junior.
Well, I'm sure. Because look, here's the thing is that if I just rent the movie, like from Vudu or something, I'm going to pay $3. I could just buy it for $4 or $5. And then that way, if I like it, I don't have to, you know what I mean? Why rent it? And if I like it, then buy it when I could just buy it. And if I like it, I already have it. And if I don't like it and I want to sell it, I can sell it.
I spent like $12 for it.
You bought it brand new. See, I hardly ever buy a brand new DVD because I know I can wait and get them cheap on eBay.
Because I love that movie. I don't want some cheap copy. I want it brand new. But
you can't tell the difference when you put it in the player.
I just don't want to risk it being scratched or anything. Okay. That's all.
Gotcha.
All right. Numero uno. And I think you know what it is. I'm sure you've been waiting on it. It is the movie. I said that I get made fun of for Bill and Ted. But there is one movie that I get absolutely lambasted for loving it.
If it's the movie, I think I'm going to be surprised.
You know what it is.
If I'm going to be surprised because if it's what I think it is, I thought you liked this movie because you really thought it was good.
I do think it's good, but I'm not blind to what everybody in the world thinks of this movie.
This is a shock. This is a shock.
I don't want to put it as number one, but the fact is simple. There's only a couple of people I've ever met in my life that like this movie. So there's a reason for that. I know a hell of a lot more people who like Commando than this. All right, let's just get to this. It is no doubt. It is Howard the Duck.
That's a shock to me because I thought you actually liked this movie.
I do.
Okay, well, but okay, go ahead. I'll let you just explain because I'm very curious to hear this.
People make fun of me for this movie. So you guys lambasted me for this. Marlo has lambasted me for this. Literally anybody who knows that I like this movie has given me absolute grief for liking this movie. My own mother, who doesn't know a whole lot about movies, even she has given me grief about liking Howard the Duck because she had to sit through it. She watched it with me in a theater. I was dying of laughter. She thought it was the most disgusting, disgraceful, non-child, adult, just outright should be banned. In fact, she looked at me and said, this movie should be banned. I'll never forget it. She looked at me and said it should be banned. But I love this movie. There it is. Howard the Duck, Blu-ray, baby. In all its glory. This is a special edition version, baby. I pre-ordered this. I have a Howard the Duck action figure. It's in a box, but I have it. Howard the Duck, trying to describe this. I've tried to describe all the movies on the list. This is the one movie that there's just no reason to even try. But it's got Leah Thompson in it. It's got Tim Robbins in it. And Jeffrey Jones, who you may not recognize the name, but you know the actor.
Yeah.
If you were watching movies of the 80s and early 90s, you know who Jeffrey Jones is. He is a legendary actor, and he is so good in everything he does.
Yeah,
He was the
in
principal in
Beetlejuice.
Ferris Bueller.
Oh, there you go.
He was in Beetlejuice.
Yep.
He is a legend. And when I think of Jeffrey Jones, I always think first of Howard the Duck.
I wonder how Jeffrey would feel about that.
I don't think he'd mind. But it stars Howard the Duck, a duck from a parallel universe who gets sucked into our world. And along the way, he meets Leah Thompson, young Leah Thompson, who even nowadays, Leah still looks good. But this was young Leah Thompson from, of course, Back to the Future fame. And she's like this rock chick. And he just wants to get home. And along the way, he meets Tim Robbins, who works at the science lab. That is the reason he came into our world. And something else came into our world. I'll let you figure out what that is, but that's where Jeffrey Jones comes into play. This movie is absolute unmitigated shit. And I've never got more abuse over liking a movie than this. Even Rob and Eric, y'all have given me absolute grief. I put this on best Marvel movies list and y'all freaked out. I do not care. This movie is one of, and this is not hyperbole when I say this, one of the funniest movies ever made. I cannot watch this movie and not die of absolute laughter. It is great. It is glorious. I keep praying that they make a Howard the Duck movie, because I will be there in line. I will be there in line as early as I will pre-order those tickets. Guaranteed. No problem pre-ordering it. I'll get made fun of, but I don't care. I'm not a fan of the Avengers movie, but I did see the scene where Howard the Duck showed up. I heard he was in it. I just wanted to see that. Didn't care about the rest of the movie. Just cared to see Howard the Duck, and it's the best part of the entire Avengers franchise. The rest of Avengers can suck it. I hate the Avengers. That is the best part with Howard the Duck. This movie is so glorious. It is one of my most prized possessions. This does not get borrowed by anybody, which isn't a problem because nobody's asking for it.
Exactly.
Nobody's asking for it. But even if somebody did, you can't borrow this. Howard the Duck, the number one guilty pleasure. Howard the Duck. Go ahead.
No, well, like I said, I'm surprised because I thought you genuinely liked this film, yet you say you recognize it's a piece of shit. I just didn't think you saw it as a piece of shit. I just thought you saw it as a movie you really enjoyed.
I don't see it as a piece of shit, but everybody else does.
Oh, okay.
Literally, there's only like 2 people on this earth I've ever met that like that movie. Only 2. And they became friends just because they liked that movie. And they said the same thing. They'd never met anybody who liked that movie. They get made fun of. So if you can barely name people who like that movie, you have no choice but to accept that generally people think of it as a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, most people do think of it that way. I mean, I'm not arguing that point at all, but I just didn't think you saw it that way. So that's why I wasn't sure it would be on your list. But look, I'm not mad about it because I think it's a piece of shit, but I also know that you enjoy it. So there you go.
In fact, when we're done, I'm going to watch this.
I saw that. I actually went to see that in the theater once again in the 80s. Hi. Even weed didn't help that one. That was a buzz kill. Never have watched that movie since.
It's so great. I don't understand why people don't like it. I truly don't. It is great. I'm going to get made fun of for this. I really do think it's one of the best damn movies I've ever seen. It's so great. I don't get it. Okay. I think I'm way ahead of the curve, but that's fine.
Oh,
I'm probably the only one on that curve.
You're ahead of the
curve. I'm the only one. I'm the only.
Curve.
That's how much I love that movie.
Yeah.
I would put it up there with Raiders. I'd put it there. I love that movie.
Man.
I love
on.
it. I absolutely love it. It's there with The Dark Knight. It's there with I love that movie.
Okay, wow.
It's right there with Blade. It's just glorious.
Okay.
All right. There we go. That is our 10 guilty pleasures. What do y'all think? I'm sure there's a couple of you that probably have an opinion of that. And that's fine. If you want to let me know, there are a whole lot of ways you can let me know. Of course, you can send me an email. Just send the email to thecountdown2020@gmail.com. You can go onto the Facebook page. Just search at the Countdown 2020 Podcast 1. I'm on Twitter. Just search at the Countdown PO1. You can go onto the Instagram page, which again, Instagram is doing a lot. I literally just a couple of days ago, I had 3 new people follow the Countdown, and thank you to those. Instagram is doing wonders for me. So you can go on to Instagram, just search the Countdown 20. You can go on to Spotify and listen to the entire library. Just search the Countdown 2020 on Amazon Audible. Just search the Countdown Podcast, iHEART Radio, the Countdown Podcast, PODBEAN, which is how the show gets sent out. Just search the Countdown Podcast. You can go to the website through PODBEAN for the archive as well. Just search the countdown2020.podbean.com. And of course, if you're watching this, you already know YouTube. Just search the Countdown Podcast with MJ Book. And if you're on YouTube, everything I just said is down in the search, see more little section where you can go and it's somewhere down there. Yeah, it's somewhere down there. You can see everything that I just said. Please like, listen, subscribe, follow. It's how the show survives. If you have any ideas, tell me what you think. Those are all the avenues. And of course, I always throw out a little plug to a couple of podcasts now. I'm going to go first to Buzzing with Marlo. He's been on this show. I've been on his show. He's going to be back on my show. Some point, I'm probably going to be back on his show. So he's available through all the avenues. Just search Buzzing with Marlo. Great guy. Love being on the show. Just a great guy. I talk to him all the time now. Just really enjoy talking to that guy. And of course, 3GW. Go ahead, Rob. That's your bud. That's your baby.
Well, yeah. Me and the Real Big E, MJ Book, frequent guest, Inside Man Blake, Doc Stevens. We love talking wrestling, and that's what we do. And we're on all the platforms. YouTube. I believe we are on Instagram. We are on iTunes, Podbean. You can hear us, watch us, give us show ideas, and that's what we do. So, give us a listen. And just as a side note on this show, I want to hear from the Thanksgiving fans out there. So when you're talking to Mike about Howard the Duck, I want to hear from you Thanksgiving fans out there. Thanksgiving fans represent.
I'll let you know if there's anybody that says anything about Thanksgiving.
I'll be curious.
But if somebody does, I'm pretty sure there'll at least be one there. I don't think anybody will say anything good about Howard the Duck. I'll be shocked. If somebody does out there, if you love Howard the Duck, I would like to have a little competition maybe. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to do it. If you like Thanksgiving, say something. I don't care how you do it. Say it through one of the mediums. Say something. Say it in the video, in the comments. Say it. If you like Howard the Duck, say Howard the Duck in any of the mediums. Just say it. And I'll be shocked if anybody says anything on either of them. But if you're one of those few, please say something just for our entertainment, because we both know these movies are shit.
Yeah.
So also want to throw out a thanks to Incomtech.com. Kevin MacLeod for the royalty-free music, Ice Flow, that you hear in the beginning and the end of the episodes that I've had from the beginning, and getting close to episode 70. I think actually this is going to be episode 68. I think 68, 69. So I'm getting close to 70, which is getting close to 100, and I will, without a doubt, have more episodes this season than I did last season, because I'm nearly at the point where I had as many episodes last season now. Literally, I'm only like 1 or 2 episodes away. So more episodes this season, and that's because of all of you. So thank you all very much. And do you have anything parting you'd like to say?
No, just always fun to be here, and looking forward to seeing what you think of Thanksgiving. And I'll
Again,
definitely let you know what I think of Batman and Robin.
Oh boy. I guess that's our is that going to be our next one together?
Yeah, I don't know when
you
we'll
watching
get it done.
Batman and Robin and me watching that thing.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
I'll try and get it in the next couple of weeks here, and I'll let you know when I've watched it.
Well, I can donate it. I have Batman and Robin.
I have it here. I have it. I have the whole collection of the Batman series on DVD of the Michael Keaton through George Clooney series.
Okay. Well, that's all we got. This was the countdown. Not a whole lot more to say. I will say just a little bit. Go blue.
Go Hawks.
Go blue. No. Go blue. And and I get the last word because it's my show. So no, I'm kidding. It's okay. But I will catch you all again on the next episode of The Countdown. Have yourself a great day or evening, whatever time it is. Bye-bye.